Here I grabbed a couple of vision and mission statement from a company a few years ago. I don't remember which one they were. But it's interesting because we're going to go through some things of why these don't really work as either a vision statement or a mission statement. Let's look at the vision statement. Our vision is to be the best provider of technology, globally recognized and admired as a strategic partner, and act with passion and energy to serve our customers. Okay. Um, if I were to take their leadership, let's say there's 10 C-level people in this company, if I was to put them in a room, put blank post-it notes in front of them, one for vision and a blank one for mission, and I was to ask those leaders to, from memory, with no help, write down word for word their vision statement and their mission statement for their company, I would guarantee you that of those 10 people, we'd probably get 12 versions of the vision and mission statement because they'll go, it might be this or that. And on top of it, I'll guarantee you that probably not a single vision statement or mission statement in the room would match each other. There's no way that they'd be able to recreate this word for word from memory. I've not seen that yet, and I wouldn't expect anything different if I was to do this exercise with them. And we've done this exercise with a lot of companies, and very seldom have we ever had where the company was able to repeat the vision statement or the mission statement. Now, what's interesting here is that a good vision statement should at max be 5 to 7 words long. Okay? And you look at this one, their vision statement, it could be just shortened down to the best provider of technology globally recognized. Or they want to be the globally recognized best provider of technology. That'd probably be the easiest way to write that one. And it still retains the core of what they're trying to get to. For the mission statement, our mission is to exceed the expectations of our customers, employees, and shareholders through technology solutions and innovation. Well, okay. It sounds really good on paper. Again, they wouldn't be able to recreate that from memory, let alone communicate it. And so what I shortened it to is their mission is to exceed the expectations of their customers and employees. We've seen a lot of literature on employees or on companies that if you take care of your employees and your customers, everything else falls in place. And so if you're going to do a vision statement, if you're going to do a mission statement, it needs to be short, it needs to be memorable, and it needs to be easy to communicate. And neither of these are short, neither of these are memorable, and neither of these are easy to communicate. And that's the power of having a vision and mission statement, is you're able to quickly communicate from the command intent all the way down to the individual level. One of the best mission statements I've ever seen was when I was working with Nokia, and their mission statement was so simple, and it was a beautiful marketing slogan on top of that. It was just 2 words: connecting people. That's simple, elegant, and described perfectly the business that they were in. Now, the vision statement was 9-10 words long. It was connecting the 2 billion who are with the 4 billion who aren't. And this was back in around 2005. So it's a couple years ago. Okay, did you catch that? Connecting the 2 billion who are with the 4 billion who aren't. And so their vision was to capture the other 4 billion people and build the market through that vision. They could have simplified that to just simply connecting the 4 billion to the 2 billion. And now you're down to something that still works. And you can still get the intent communicated quickly and easily down through the organization. Later, we're going to go through the concept of dilution and why having a short, memorable, easy to communicate vision and mission are absolutely vital to what you're doing as a leader and as an organization. Now, if you're working down in the trenches and you have a company with which you're working that has vision statements like this, you as an individual and team need to write the vision statement as it should be and aim towards that, and the same for the mission, and connect your team's mission to what the vision should be and to what the mission should be. And that is how, as a team, you can still deliver remarkable results inside an organization where either the vision is fractured or dysfunctional or the mission is fractured or dysfunctional. You as a team can still deliver remarkable results. And so this is the power of vision. This is the power of mission. And we're going to talk a lot about that in this presentation. In this section, we're going to talk about anticipatory vision. This actually comes from a couple of books written by Dr. Daniel Burrus, and we've adapted them to flow. His one book is The Anticipatory Organization, and his other book is Flash Foresight. He's probably written tons of books beyond that, but those two are excellent. They're really good. And in a recent blog post, Dr. Burrus even pointed out that Agile is not enough because Agile is reactive. And it was just like, wow, yeah, that was really good. And I'm going, yes, that is absolutely right. And Simon Sinek recently came out with a video blog as well. And he pointed out that vision is where you need to start. Okay? So even beyond starting with why, he was saying vision first. Ted and I, that is what we've been talking about for the last quarter of a century as we distilled and honed flow into the leadership framework that it is today. And so we're going to get into anticipatory vision. If you are not led by vision, you will be driven by circumstance. We've been teaching this for 25 years, and it's really interesting that people will say, well, vision's so abstract. How do you use that concretely? Well, I can give you an example. A couple directors at a very large NGO in the US, the largest adoption agency in the US with 1,500 employees, two of the directors were very unhappy with each other, and they were having a very passionate discussion about a topic. And they had been through the training with Ted just a couple days before. And the one director, she looked at the other director and she said, okay, let's step back here a minute. Let's talk about vision. That was just utterly brilliant because each of them in the workshops had written down their visions. And I think one of the visions was connecting vulnerable children with families. And the other one was connecting resources to vulnerable children. Okay, and it could have been others, but whatever. They had a bunch of really good vision statements for this organization. Well, They took that, they looked at the vision, they looked at what they were both trying to achieve, they looked at each other and they said, it's all about the kids. It's all about the children. And in a flash, they were able to resolve a conflict that if you had used a conflict resolution tool like the book Getting to Yes, you would have gone through a long process of trying to, okay, what are their starting points? Where's the areas of agreement? And then we use that area of agreement as the starting point. Guess what? When you have clear visions in the leadership level, you eliminate the politics and the disagreement when people can go directly to their vision statements and say, well, here's my vision statement. The other person said, this is my vision statement. And they were in a nanosecond able to go, well, it's all about the kids. They came to the common point so fast that you just bypassed all the normal steps that you would go through in a getting TS process. So vision short circuits the need to have to go through long processes to resolve conflict. Vision is used to resolve conflicts. Vision is the North Star for the organization, for each of the leaders in the organization. And when they keep coming back to, well, what's the vision? What are we trying to achieve? You can quickly resolve disputes at the leadership level, and the same thing applies at the portfolio level, the program level, the project team level, the product level, individual level, right on down throughout the entire organization. If you have not mastered being able to use vision to resolve conflicts, you're going to be driven by circumstances, you're going to get politics, you're going to get confusion, friction, chaos. It's not going to be nice. So, if you are not led by vision, you will be driven by circumstance. Most of us that have been through Scrum training in the US or Agile training in the US, they'll immediately recognize this and you'll go, oh, okay, well, what's this got to do with vision? Well, in a few minutes, just bear with me, you'll see. What I wanted to point out here is that you've got unknown technology versus known technology, stable requirements versus unstable requirements, and then Dr. Stacy had put simple, complicated, complex, and chaos. And the Agilists will point out that, well, for complicated, complex, chaos, and anarchy, you would use Agile. And I've heard many Agilists say, well, you know, for simple, just use a checklist, use traditional project management, use whatever. And so it becomes, you know, when to use which methodology when you're trying to get a team or a project to, or a program to deliver something. Well, one of our FCPs made a brilliant observation, and that's the next slide. And basically, it's not as straightforward as you might think. And this is perhaps one of the best arguments I've ever seen for why you should use Agile everywhere, including the simple corner, okay? We ran into a project, Robert and I were working together on it, and the requirements were extremely simple. They were well known. The tech was simple and well known, but the communications had become extremely complex, and it was due to multiple internal and external partners and having to deal with them. And the goal was to choose an approach to help improve the comms and collaboration. Well, if you only did the 2 dots for the Stacy diagram, you would have said, hey, we'll just do classic traditional waterfall. And the team had really languished for about a year and weren't able to deliver. Finally, one of the IT leaders came to us and said, hey, can you help us out here? We think maybe Agile might be appropriate, even though on paper it looks like we should just be doing classic waterfall. to get this done. And we looked at it and we said, okay, sure. As we peeled back the layers of the onion, Robert made the observation that, man, this is really complex communication. And when I was training PMI, PMPs 10 to 12 years ago, we used to teach project management is 80% communications. Well, the reality is today it's probably 95% of everything that we would do in product development or project management is communications. If that's the case and you're running into communications that are complex, then in that case, you've just made the case for almost never, ever using classic waterfall again. The only time you would ever be able to advocate doing that is if the technology was simple and the requirements were simple and the communications were simple, so that the green dot's down in the corner. My experience with even quote-unquote simple projects in most organizations, especially large organizations, is that you've got such a level of complex bureaucracy, stage gate processes sitting over the top. They create such complexity that there's no such thing as simple communication anymore. So we could get into the communications calculator. I think we touched on that in our Scrum deck. It actually might be in this deck as well. But this is really important. And this makes the case for why you would basically almost never use classic again or waterfall. And what you would want to do is make a hybrid and put in as many elements of Agile as you possibly can down into that simple corner in order to alleviate the communication blockers that you're going to get, because we know at minimum your communications are going to be complex or complicated, and it could go anywhere from that to complex to even chaos and anarchy.